Morning guys and girls, hope you're doing well. And yeah, I got a stunning one in front of me. You will have seen it before, but I think this is the probably 8th time it's been in or something like that. But let me shut up and let you show you this car. That's right, we got Antsparky Supra back in, and yet again he's done more to it. Most obviously, pretty damn slammed. So looks awesome. So let me give you a rundown of all the stuff it's got. Right, there'll probably be loads of bits I miss here, but as you can tell, obviously lovely front splitter arrangement, obviously the wrap as well for starters, all the little carbon add-ons. I really like this badge. I don't know if that was in last time, but it's got sort of like the burnt titanium sort of look to it. Obviously headlights have been manipulated and we've got some lovely LEDs that light up in there. Beautiful set of wheels, so really nice, with custom sort of inlays for the studs and things. So yeah, very nice titanium bolts. Yeah, the tiny details are great. I'll show you under the engine bay in a bit as well. Actually, weirdly, someone may know this, if you've got a Supra and you've aired it, why can't you open the bonnet when it's in full slam? It does one click, but won't let you get the second click. And so far, me, Ant, and a few others haven't really found out why it's doing that. So if any of you guys know, that would be great to sort of, it doesn't look like it's actually hitting. So let me come down here. I don't know if you can see. It's not like touching the floor. I don't know if you get a good angle on that. So I'm guessing it must be something up into the wheel arches, but if anyone knows, please let us know, because it's a bit of a mystery. Obviously we've got carbon side seals, carbon mirror covers, beautiful Creative Car Sounds logo. Now I think he doesn't know this yet, but this is going to be the new Creative Car Sounds courtesy car. So if you're essentially coming in, maybe there's a chance he'll let you borrow this one. Yeah, I doubt very much. So carbon roof panel. Interior wise, it looks almost stock, but we are certainly going to change that. Sorry about the sun glare. But in here, yeah, it's very normal Supra look, but we're going to change a lot on these bits. So that's coming up in a little bit. Round to the back, obviously lovely rear wing, great exhaust, and obviously we've got the matching burnt titanium badge at the back. And last time round, which there will be a video for, so I'll link it, I built him. Actually, there was 2 stages, but I don't think I filmed both parts of it. So that's his boot game. As you can see, very strong, very nice. Got a lovely ported 12 that runs down here, and obviously twin 8s up on the side, triple amp arrangement running across. The factory speakers did used to live down behind these chairs, and they were projecting forwards, and you couldn't really hear them. So I went in and fiberglassed some new pod pieces to give them that midfield at the back here. And that's one of the reasons we're in today, is that so when you're at a show, and he does do a lot of shows in this, he will be standing here demoing it, bass is booming, everything's great. And if you're standing over here, you probably get a great audio image, and vice versa. If you're standing over here, you probably get great audio image. But for all the people back here, there's absolutely nothing, because you've got silly little 4-inch speakers on the doors there, the big speakers in the back here facing forwards. So we got to change it, and I'll show you through the process of this job what's going to be happening. But those speakers are going to be coming out of there and going in back here somewhere. Now I've got a couple of ideas on where to put it and things. And then crazily enough, after watching the Max Power video, I think he saw the double 6.5-inch speaker build. We're then going for twin 6.5-inch components here, or one coaxial, one component, and then the new tweeter will be up there. So that's going to be really fun, but also an absolute nightmare because we haven't got a lot of space. So, but that's the name of the game in this, I guess, is make something that isn't there, because if not, the customers will just do it themselves. One thing that I want to address, and I hope I've got time to, will be, these are lovely and sculpted in, as you can see. They fit in really nice and panel matched and everything, but this bit here and this bit here actually meet this bit here and this bit here. Now, I don't know whether it's the spoiler that's, as he's driving at speed, the downforce from the spoiler is pushing this further in. Obviously, it is just sort of rubber supported, but I kind of feel I need to do something with these because they look a little bit of an eyesore. Coming around, obviously, there's other people on the back here. So we've got obviously himself, Antsparky, myself, and Luke from Geo by Luke, that is just the don at doing alignment, geometry, everything else. If you want your car feeling spot on, get him involved. I believe it was those guys that put, actually I know it was those guys that managed to get the air tank up underneath back here. So I don't think you'll be able to see it. But all of his air ride arrangement and everything is actually outside behind the car with a little metal sheet to protect it so that you don't get any of that sort of mess inside here. So that's really well done. Sort of, I know Luke is just a don at this, and if you ever watch him drift, he's an absolute nutter. So big up to them. But yeah, I think this has got to be one of the nicest looking Supras, or Mk5 Supra, that I've seen. Yeah, big fanboy of this one. Right, I'm gonna get the shutters down and I'm gonna start showing you some more sort of things of what we've got to do today on it, or not just today. I wish this was just a day job, but no, this will be a week at least. So anyway, sit down, get a cup of tea, and I hope you enjoy what I can do. Right, aired it back up just to basically see. So that's like his ride height driving around, which is still low, but he has got a few settings on it that he can do for presets and things for speed bumps. But yeah, engine bay as well. He's gone to all the little details. I love all this. It's just the little red hex nuts to sort of blend it all through. The little collars that he's put around so he can get down to his adjustable sort of exhaust, adjustable damping. Everything is nice. I think it's tuned just over 500 brake, which in a car like this wheelbase rear wheel drive is plenty. I've driven this thing and it has stepped out on me once. So it is an animal, and it definitely can be driven hard. So, but yeah, just thought I'd show you that before I put the shutter down and we lose the decent light. So all good, guys. Right, I'm going to stop waffling, and the first thing I think is I'm going to do the boring bits where it's stuff like I need to get extra cabling through these seals to be able to get extra speaker wires in here, take out the stuff. So to start with, I'm just going to strip a few things down and sort of get my head around exactly what we've got to do in this, because it is a big job. The biggest bit by far will be to work out how to get it looking right on those doors. The easy way is just to do a big fiberglass slab and then put speakers in. But if it's a show car, it's also got to look like someone actually put half an hour's thought at least into it. So we shall see. The back bit shouldn't be too bad. The new amplifier going in is tiny. That's just going to power it. Oh yeah, it's going to do a cool thing as well. So day-to-day use, he's not going to have these extra speakers, or 2 sets at the front and 2 sets at the back running. So they're going to be like show specs in regards to, he turns up to a show, flicks a little switch, and then those ones come to life so that he doesn't have to drive them all the time. It'd be interesting to see once he's got it in whether he actually just uses them all the time, because it's going to sound better. But yeah, I'll find out in the future with that one. But yeah, really looking forward to this one, guys, and a hell of a lot of work. Thankfully it's about 8 degrees at the moment, so it's really good for doing fiberglass. But we couldn't wait to summer because summer show's time, so it's got to be done in the winter. Right, catch you in a sec. So this is the bit that I didn't really want to see, but I kind of knew it was. So as you can see there, that's the plug that lets you go between the door and obviously the main body. And these are all tiny little pins. So to do it properly, I'll have to pin some wires up, which means taking this all apart to basically put in 2. Now there should, I'll have to have a look with the light in a second, there should be, out of all of those, 2 spare spaces for us to get another signal wires in, so we can get some more speaker systems into here, because we do want them on separate circuits. So yeah, I shouldn't have to dehinge the door because we've got quite a bit of flex in that, so I can manipulate that quite nicely. The inner one, that should pop back through and eventually come out up under here. So yeah, the fun and games starts now. Right, so this is one of the fun parts that I have to deal with. So as you can see, I've repinned a couple of wires in here and they correspond with a couple up on there. So fingers crossed, when I put this all back through, those 2 will link together and then we'll get continuity between all these speaker wires. So fingers crossed, and we're good to go on this side. All right, moment of truth. So that plug is back in. I've got a multimeter connected up to one end, so let's check continuity. Hopefully we'll hear a beep. Yes. And on the other one, we'll just get that one prepped. Wrap that one around. Can't really see what I'm doing, but there. And let's continuity onto this one. Hopefully a beep as well. Good as gold. Right, just got to wrap these up, and then that's that side done, and just got to do the exact same over on that side. Okay, that's all done now and pinned through. So I thought I'd come to the back here and probably start getting some ideas about what we're going to do on this. The doors are going to be the big bit, but obviously I have still got to do this bit here. So obviously we need to get the 4-inch speakers and the tweeters somewhere in this area. Now, the box, I like how it sort of hugs the roof shape running across. There would be an option, for instance, to have the speakers like there with the tweeter next to it and same side, but I think you're just going to be blocking off. It's not going to look right looking down. It's such a nice visual to be able to see into there and see the subwoofer arrangement. So I kind of don't want to change anything under here, which makes it a lot more work, because it would be simpler to build something off these side bits, because then everything's in the car and that's where it's all going to connect to. So yeah, they would be off these panels. I could just remake these panels with new speaker bits, but like I say, if I've put that grille, say even if we go right in there for instance, straight away it just sits in front of the sub. It looks like it hasn't been sort of thought out. So then we've got this bit up here. You can probably tell by my I don't know exactly the way forwards with it. A couple of things jump out at me. So we've got this area up here and up here, but that's also where those close on these sides here. So I kind of don't want to do that, because you have to angle it around. So I think the best space is in these corners here and here. Now, looking at this trim, it's one piece that goes all the way around, which can come off. It looks like the struts go through it and things. So that'd be a bit of a bit more work than I want it to be. But we could do some pods that will mount over this. Now we have got some very strong fixing points. These are where the hinge bar comes up. So we've got some nice solid bits to hinge off of. Then it's a case of, do I grill them? So like grill with the tweeter there, or do I not grill them? So you see them pop a lot quicker, because the sort of the yellowy orange sort of cone would show straight away. It's, well, who's going to hit them up there? No one's really going to hit them. So I don't think we have to worry too much about the grill. It makes the pod smaller. I think I may get on the old 3D printer and maybe do like a 3D printed pod that will sit in there. And then basically after I've done that, I've just got to find a nice way of mounting it through. Like say, that would be an ideal point. And I'm sure we could pick up in here somewhere as well. So yeah, I'm going to take some measurements for that, and I'll probably do that tonight at home on CAD and see what shapes. There are some curves to it, but it's not awful. I can deal with curves. So, okay, I think I'll measure that up, and then that'll be that bit done. Oh, as if it's that easy. That'll be that bit started for the CAD. So I guess I should take the doors down, get the speakers out, make sure they're all good, get the crossovers out, and then we can start working with doing some measurements on those. Okay, before I get onto the more sort of advanced stuff with doing the speaker arrangement, I thought I'd just address these tweeters. So I've taken out the original tweeter mount, then used the backing of it as sort of like a backing panel, so I can get my little pod on there, which eventually, let's see if we can rotate it right around, will sit up on there, just to give us a nice sort of projection out for the tweeter. I'm not sure what I'm going to trim it in, whether I'm going to go with the red that's going to be on some of it down here, or if I stick to sort of the black. I think maybe the black, because it's just going to sit in a big sea of black and it may blend in nicely. So but yeah, got a lot more sanding to do. That's how they sort of start off before the fiberglassing. So not sorry, before the sanding, and then obviously you just got to make it all nice and smooth and get it to the point where we can trim over it. Oh, they don't look very great now, but they will do once I'm done. But yeah, they're all sanded off, ready to rock and roll. So just going to lay some black paint over them. And then that's sort of those done, apart from just trimming them up. Okay, we've got the little pod now. You can see why I spray it black, so you can see there's a little imperfections there that I've sanded back down. Obviously, it is going to be trimmed over, so I haven't got to get it like mirror finish or anything. So that is going to sit back there, and obviously contour-wise and imagery-wise, really nice. So I'm happy with that. But then we come down to the choice of colours. Obviously, this is all black at the moment, but there will be, and I don't know if I've described this yet in the video, there will be a big speaker here, another speaker here. We're gonna have a gap in between, and I think I'm gonna try and pull some red around here. I may even bring it down here to display the crossover, but I've got to see whether that height will allow me to get the crossover in. I kind of want to keep this factory look so that it has sort of the whole half an hour thinking process sort of made out as if it is actually designed to sort of manipulate this panel piece. I will have to drop this all the way to the bottom and go around there, for instance. But I'm kind of feeling like that's the natural line to sort of cut it off with, or drag it all the way through to the back edge. If I can get the crossover there, if not, I'm gonna have to see how it lays up. But color-wise, we're gonna go black and we're gonna go red. That's obviously in the back as well. You've got the red detailing. So I'm in an R-ing about whether these should be a black finish or a red finish. And I kind of feel the red finish because the actual speaker, the tweeter that's going on there is black. Now, as to the colours, we're also doing something slightly different. So let me just turn these lights on. So we got this really popping red carpet here, but to be honest, it hasn't stayed how I wanted it to. You can probably see there. I could stretch it back out, but it's kind of fluffing up and there's bits and pieces. So I'm not happy with that carpet. And Ant has said, yeah, let's redo it a little bit. So we've gone for a bit more of a sort of, in the video it shows brightness, but it's a bit darker. It's almost like an oxblood red. So I'm thinking that, and then doing the tweeters in that to pull that through at the front. I think what I'm going to do is swap over these red bits for this now to get a feel of how the red and the black work, just to make sure we're going along the right lines with it. And I may, if I've got time, redress these in red, which I think will look really cool, to sort of pull that all the way down to the back here. And then when you've got the doors open, you'll then see the tweeters and the main speaker build in the red as well. So we'll see. But I'm going to get this bit taken off. I'm not going to show you, because if you want to watch that, watch the video of me building it and you'll see all this work. I'll link that up in the top right hand corner at the moment so you can see. But yeah, let's get this in this new trim and see how she looks. Okay, we're ticking off the little bits. So that will sit there in the end, and it does break up just the sea of red, which I thought I was going to do black, but I thought, you know, anything else, everything else in this is going to be sort of red tailored, as in the custom bits, especially down this lower section. So obviously this will be broken up by the fact that the tweeter is black on there, so happy with that. Moving to the back bit. So last night got the old CAD out and 3D printed stuff. It's bigger than I thought it would be, but it kind of needs to be. So there was options to sort of not have the grills on the back here, but I thought it's just going to make sense to have the grills. It is going to show, you don't want people poking fingers and things. So essentially, just a very simple sort of shaped piece that's going to go in, and that's going to sit somewhere in that sort of region. It will have the red and the black trim on it. So, and I think, let me get this one because it's loaded up. So I think those will look cool. Now, a few things taken into consideration. When it goes in, obviously it can't hit that subwoofer, and obviously to make it nice and solid for the mounting. But I think as you were to go back and see that on both sides with the black and red trim, I think that would look really good. So I'm going to get some fiberglass up on here. Now, normally the fiberglass is very runny and very thin. I'm going to have to do this in situ because I don't want to take the boot lid off and flip it up the other way, because that's a lot of work for me to do. So I'm going to use sort of the fiberglass reinforced sort of P40 stuff, which is just going to give me a base layer. I think I'm going to incorporate some metal pieces that are going to come off here and here, and then actually fiberglass in, so that will give me my mounting. So yeah, so I'm going to just prep up this area, get it all masked off, and then start taking sort of like a fiberglass mold off of that, and then I'll join the two. So the fiberglass will then join the back of this, and then obviously that will make that like a complete little pod that, fingers crossed, if I do it right, we'll be able to bolt through this, and then we'll just have to get a little fixing behind here somewhere, and that should be enough to hold that solid. So let's get cracking with that. Yeah, I think I've got a nice solution for the mounting. So as you can see there, we've got a metal bracket that basically that will be inside the fiberglass that's going to go over here, and that bolts up nice on here. But obviously I can't just allow the plastic pressure to go through because it's a boot. So we've got the little aluminium space if it will focus. So aluminium space that will bring that down. That obviously can then bolt back through, just extended the length of the bolt on it. And then obviously that means that we're still putting pressure between the point there, through that, and into the actual railing piece underneath. So yeah, happy with that. I'm just going to bend up the other side, then going to mask it up. And obviously the huge benefit of this is in the future, you can take this down and it won't actually show anything that it's been changed. So no cuts, no drills, no holes, hopefully. So let's see how it all goes. Got the area all prepped now. So obviously laid down some of the masking, and it's covered with beeswax so that it won't stick to the cloth. It won't stick to the tape, hopefully. Little bit concerned about the heat that it generates. Obviously we have got a tint on the glass. It shouldn't be too hot because it's a cold day, but there's nothing I can really do. I've got to let it thermally cure off anyway. First of all, I'm just going to put some exactly like a blodge of it, exactly where those hinges are going to be. Then I'm going to get those hinges back into position so they fully bed into it, and then skim over it to get sort of a rough moulding coming up quite far off the sides. I can always trim off what I don't need. And then afterwards I'll go in, and once I've got it out of the car, then I'll start laying down the actual fiberglass glass matting to give it sort of a real bit of strength, because the other fiberglass is good, but it's not a continuous matte piece. So, right, wish me luck, and you'll see it in a little bit. It looks kind of awful, isn't it, when you see these sort of fiberglass things not done fully. But yeah, just gonna let that cure off. It looks like I've got all the bits that I need to cover. Obviously I can go over at any point and add bits if need be. So, and we didn't get any spillage or anything else. So, right, I'm gonna give that 20 minutes, half an hour to sort of cure out fully. And then I'll take it off and then reinforce that shape with the normal sort of fiberglass matting. And then that should give me a lovely contour piece with the metal fixing pieces incorporated that should just go straight back in. Actually, I may just bring that bit up slightly. Right, let me just do that, and then I'm gonna go get some lunch, and then I'll be back after it's cured. All good and in, right, nice and solid now. And you can see I've just drawn on some little lines that basically are like the edge of where I need to reinforce to, just so I don't start going too far up on there. So I'm going to get these off and then start laying down some much stronger fiberglass on top of them. And then it'll just be a case of sitting up the pods in position and then basically joining those two pieces together with more fiberglass, and that'll give me my pod piece. And fingers crossed, that should be enough mounting. I won't know until I get it in and have a feel of it, but that should be very strong because it's metal going straight into the fiberglass. That's a very good anchor point. So fingers crossed, that's all the mounting we do. There was only one thought that I've had, which is a little frustration, is that I need to get wires up into these. So as much as I don't want to drill any holes, I'm going to have some cables that come through into it. Now, I may be able to just jump them across this little gap here, but professionally it would look better if the cables were hidden and come through from the back. So I don't know. I'm going to speak to Ant and see whether he minds me making one hole in the back panel piece to see what it's like. But yeah, let me get these built up and then we'll move forwards from there. Looks like a couple of dodgy bits of salmon, to be fair. You can see why. So obviously I'm happy that I've got the shape and the contour, but these, you can see I can flex that. So obviously there's no way I'd be able to pull, say, fiberglass and mount the other bit front things. So I'm going to skin over these basically just to give them a really good solid base to run on. And then after that, I can then attach the front bits to them. And they should come out as really nice pods. I'm kind of happy with the way that mounting is sort of locked in there. There's a few little holes and bits and pieces where it hasn't penetrated fully that I just need to get into. So, but no, with those being stuck halfway through the fibre, that should be nice and strong by the time I sort of reinforce. I think I don't really want to reinforce this side because this is the side that panel matches through. But like I say, there's a few bits there you can see that probably need just a little bit of work done to them because I know the actual contour of the panel isn't like that. So I will fix this all up so that these bits are nice and solid. And then after that, we can get the pods mounted to them and we can move forwards. Right, you'll have to excuse the noise, that's the compressor running. But as you can see, obviously after we've laid down all the extra chop mat on it, I can then give it sort of like a rough cut out, and now that is nice and solid. So it gives me a good base for something to mount off and work on. So I'll get this trimmed up and then we'll start sculpting this to the right sort of shape. There you go, Ant. A couple of salmon fillets screwed into the back of the car. It's crazy to think that what it looks like now and how it's going to look at the end is a bit nuts. But right, enough waffle, let's get on with it. Right, I think I've got the line up that I want. So now the question is if it shuts, and it should do, looking at the drops that I've got each side. When I shut the boot, does it interfere? So let me go through inside and have a look. And from here, looks like winner chicken dinner. So right, let me lock those into position and then I can start building those pods up. All right, those pieces of salmon are actually starting to make nice little pods. So we're getting there with the shape of it. Obviously, I've just given it like the back layer, metal bracket coming through. So still quite a bit to do on them, but we're not a million miles off now. So I think sculptural wise, they're gonna look really good when they're on the back of it. So, right, let's continue sanding. Okay, before I get to the stage of actually doing the trim work and things, I just wanted to see how these are gonna look. And to be honest, I think that looks awesome. So it'd be so nice when they've actually got the actual loaded up and the right color scheme and everything else. And then obviously as a side profile, you can see they've just got nice sweeping sort of lines that follow through. I'm just gonna double check to make sure the boot shuts again. But no, I'm very happy with that. Mounting is nice and solid on there. So that bolt bit should do grand on that. And it looks like I've got it pretty symmetrical. It's always hard when you're doing fiberglassing and everything else because obviously it's handmade. So I think the symmetry of them and the angle that I've got them sitting at has worked out perfect. So very happy with that. Right, just got to make sure that the boot shuts and they don't interfere with anything down the bottom, and we are good, and I'll trim them up. And there we go, all trimmed up. Probably the nicest bits of salmon stuck to the back of a car that I've seen. But no, really happy with how they come out, and I think they work lovely with the setup we're going for. Obviously still got to put the speaker in that one, but I've got to sort out the wiring things now. So far I've done it without actually having to drill holes in the plastic, so it would kind of be silly for me to do that. So I think I'm actually going to bring the cables through just in these corners. They nip behind. You won't really see them too much. The keen-eyed around you will see them. So obviously if you do come and see this car at a show, don't have a go at me and go, oh, why can I see the cable? There is actually a reason for it. But no, I think they present really nice. And obviously they're going to really help out with the rear sound imagery that we need back here. So very happy with those. Right, now that we've dealt with the sort of I'd call it the easier parts, but these have taken me longer than I wanted them to. I guess it's always the way when you're hand building stuff, it can take longer than you need. But no, really happy with those. So we move on to the more fun part of it. So obviously that's the door card, and that's what size speaker he used to have. So as you can see, not really doing much, little 10 centimeter with the tweeter up there. So what we're going to is a couple of this. So we've got the coaxial version K2 KE series, and then we've also got the component version, which is the KX2Es. So really, really nice speaker setup. You can see the size of the magnets compared to what was in the little 10. So I know we're going to get a load more volume out of this, which is exactly what he needs. So space-wise, like I was looking at and talking about before, I kind of want to keep everything up here pretty factory. So my pod is basically going to be this sort of area here. Now looking at it, if I get the grills, really annoyingly, they're the same range speakers, but they do come with a different grill. But it is what it is. But as you can see, we've got a fair old bit of space to work with. So those are going to fit really nice on there. Main issues will be the depth. Obviously you can't just sink them down because obviously we've got magnets in the back there, and the inside of the door card doesn't allow us just to drop all the way straight through. So we've got depth, and obviously then we've got the visuals. I can't have them angling down like they are now because that would just be silly. So we're going to have to kick them somehow, kick them up and out. Not sure whether I'm going to do double rings or whether I'm going to do like a flat panel that will hold both speakers. So it kind of matches what's happening up on here, where you've got the flat and the speakers on the same axis. I need to kind of have a little play around with it and see what I feel is going to be best. There was also going to be lighting put onto this as well, so I may have a little down shining light strip that just floods some light down onto here. I'm hoping that I can take this apart in kind of two pieces, whereas this bit stays as one piece, and then I can remove this bit, which means I can start manipulating it. But let me do a bit of head scratching and I'll let you know what I think I'm gonna do. Okay, head scratching done. stipulations for it will be, so if I want a lighting effect to come down, it kind of needs that I'm going to need a straight edge somewhere up here to be able to hide the light to come down here, which kind of means that the speakers then should be on the same plane so that that light can flood across the grille. So I want it sort of passing over the front of them. Don't think I'm going to do any funky backlighting in that, not sure about that yet. You can light these through. If I get a torch, excuse the mess. So if I get a torch, as you can see, these are sort of translucent. So I could rear light them to make them pop, but we'll see. Probably gives you a better view from there, sort of thing. So may do something like that. But yeah, I guess this being straight is going to dictate sort of like the front piece. I've had a look inside. We've got about 3 inches to be able to come out before we start intruding where the chair goes and things, so we can get a kick to make them come that way. So I'm thinking sort of like the flat panel following this shape down here. It will drop over this edge. This will run through. Now, I may just pull it back up on that line there. The crossover, actually, yeah, let me go and grab the crossover, and that's going to sort of decide what we do in there. So this is the crossover for the component version of the speakers. Obviously, the coaxial one doesn't need one. And it does fit here, but I don't know if it's going to bring anything to the build. I'm not sure yet. It's going to change the shape, that's going to sort of come down and then have to kick over this way, go all the way to the end, I guess. I don't know. It's sort of the way that it sits at an angle there, for instance, to follow the door piece. When it's in the car, it will just sort of look like a bit of an add-on. So I think I'm not going to display them. Once I've set them, you don't really have to do much to it. And obviously we have got a DSP in this, so we can do a lot of the control on the DSP. So yeah, I'm feeling that sort of line there that runs around, that becomes a pod piece that comes up over here, follows that back through. That will give me the ability to flood lighting across here and potentially along this edge as well. Speaker. Yeah, it should be good. Right, I need to separate all this out so that I can start seeing what parts it's made of. And I imagine, let's have a look on the back of it. I imagine it's going to be plastic welded and other sort of fun and games. Let me just spin it around. Yeah, so we've got loads of plastic welds that I'll have to drill out. God, there's loads of them. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. We've got some screws there, but I don't reckon if I just undo those screws that anything's gonna just suddenly fall apart. Right, let's get these plastic welds off and I'll start getting it into its pieces. Okay, after a lot of plastic welds being drilled out and sort of panel splitting, we have all the pieces. So I'm really happy to see that that bit is like one piece. Well, it's actually 2 pieces, but I've not taken the welds off this bottom section yet, so I can keep that all in one piece together, which means I can kind of build off that bit. This bit will then sit back over there, which is going to make that all good. The only real fun and games, which isn't too bad, is obviously we had the boot release switch, which is that little guy down here. I'm going to have to move that because obviously that's where the speaker's going to be. I'm thinking of bringing it up here onto this panel in the center here. So this bit will sit there, for instance. So it'll be nice and accessible just on top of that. The light should be able to stay the same place, but I may just have to reshape this afterwards to sort of cut it in. But yeah, so far, I think we can leave all of that top bit exactly as it is, which is really good. And now basically I've just got to build out sort of like a hybrid MDF fiberglass panel piece that's going to go on here that will actually support the speakers. Now the speakers are going to mount onto this. So this needs to be very strong against the door card. So I may have to, behind the speaker bit, do some sort of mounting or something to sort of stop this bit basically flexing about. It is nice and sturdy, so I'm happy with that. It's not sort of the cardboard one. It is actually ABS plastic. So that's good. But obviously it will need a lot of work on it. But yeah, it's gonna be all right. I'm not too worried, but it's still gonna take a hell of a long time to do. Right, let me start doing some measurements. And obviously whatever I do on this one, I've got to do the exact same copy on that one down there. So, because if they look unsymmetrical, it kind of looks rubbish. While I'm thinking about all that, to be honest, I'm probably just going to put that the boot release switch up on there for the moment, get that bit done out of the way so I don't lose the switch basically, and that's in position. Obviously, I'll probably have to extend the cables. But yeah, right, let me get that in. Just going to drill some holes and file it out square, and then that will drop in lovely, and then we will crack on with the actual build itself. Right, so my little brain's been going around all the sort of things that I've got to overcome with this. So obviously there was an initial idea essentially to do sort of like some kicks on them, but then the light wouldn't really work because it wouldn't go over the edge. One of the biggest things that I'm thinking of is the fact that the door card is going to be supporting the speakers, and therefore it's got to be really solid because I know Ant is going to play this loud. So what I'm thinking is building up sort of like a multi-layer system that will line up and sort of sit within the edges there. And then basically building this through, it will take a kick on it, but having these on sort of like a flat plane, 18mm MDF underneath to actually do like as a support piece for the speaker to sit on. This in theory is going to be the panel where the red is going to be, so that you can then see essentially the speaker is going to sit inside these cutouts, drop down essentially. There'll be another bit that comes up the top and goes around the edge and sort of then gives us a small overhang. And then that overhang piece is the bit that's going to be stretched down and fiberglassed into the rest of this panel, which means I've got my little gap essentially around there to put my lighting effect in. I don't know whether I'm going to bring the lighting along the bottom on the basis that when you're looking down into it, you'll see the LEDs. I'm not sure whether I'm just going to take it up over the top, which obviously then just going to drop light down, which I think will look nicer. But then it's a case of what do we do with the bottom bit? Do we then say have it so that it finishes off, or do we still keep sort of like the sort of almost framed look of it? So I'm going to build this up a bit further. I've got to cut the other one out there and then sort of start seeing through, but I think it's going to work out good. There's enough space on here to have them flat, and I think it will look nice. Obviously the other thing as well is when it's in the car, how much space we can kick this out by, determined by where the chair location is and things. But I think this will work good. Originally, I was going to go for sort of like multiple kick angles, but I just think for the strength of it alone, it warrants being one big flat piece that I can then lock into position, and all the weight can be put through all of this, rather than having separate rings that I then have to try and sort of fiberglass and try and make them strong onto this. So I think this is the better way. It may not look as pretty, but it will match what we've got going on the back there with the flat edge, and essentially it will be acoustically stronger. So no, I'm going to get this sort of a bit further down the line and see where we go with it. Right, little update on how this bit's going. So as you can see, obviously that's where our main speaker piece is going to be. This is the driver's side one. So I've just put up that lip there, which allows me to basically put the LED strip along that top edge. And then we've got a little panel that's going to go on top that's got a couple of router surfaces. That one there is so that the trim can go back in and hide it. And then obviously that one's there, the chamfer, so it sort of looks nice when it goes back over. But when that's on, it should look like a nice little enveloped pocket that obviously then you'll have the light display come around here. This bit along the bottom edge obviously is just going to be red leather, so that is sort of when you look in, I guess you do get a little bit to put pens and whatnot in there, business cards and things. So that should be good. Once I've got this sort of all together, obviously there's a lot of trimming to do around the edge to make it all nice and smooth. Then afterwards, I can start working towards getting that back onto the door card, and then this will get fiberglassed into the card. So honestly, we've got the reinforcement bit at the back where the speaker's going to sit. So there's still quite a lot to go, but it is getting there. The only concern is how far I have to kick it to put the speaker magnets in, because in the door, we've got a few things like here where the handle mounts back on, so I can't really move that. I'm going to have to change that bit. We have got a little bit of a shallow here, and obviously I want to keep these lugs as the locking pieces on it. So there's a few things to adapt inside the door, but not too bad. But it does all sort of bow in, so I'm hoping I don't have to do like a really obvious kick. And then obviously we've got the distance between here and here being the limiting factor. So fingers crossed that all goes to plan, but I'll show you when I get there. Okay, right, starting to take some shape now. Because of the way that I'm building these, I'm gonna have to trim this bit, and I don't know if you can see along the edge there, we've got the LEDs inside. And It doesn't make it a pain, it just means that I've got to be very careful now because I'm going to be fiberglassing these in, and obviously I don't want to get any fiberglass onto the red leather patch of it. So, but I think they're going to look really nice. I've put the LEDs in, and if I power them up, see, that does look the part. I really like the way that's going to sort of glow down on it. You may say, like, why didn't I put them all the way around the bottom? But like I say, you're going to be able to see into that bottom edge, and I think it looks really kind of cheap. If I show you the LEDs like that, I think it just looks a bit cheap and nasty if you can actually see the light source. So I'm just going to turn the light off and turn these on and see how it'll present at night. Yeah, so there's definitely enough light on that. I think they're going to look stunning when they're in the doors. So, but yeah, still a lot of work to go. Right, that's our little pod pieces ready to rock and roll. So as you can see, that's the actual bit that it sits on. Sorry, that's the actual bit that the speaker sits on. And then obviously from the front, that's how it will look. You've seen the light already. So the next stage is just kind of get that mounted up inside that lower section of the door card. So let's go and work out that kick angle and see how we're going to get this mounted through. Here's a little sneaky peek before we start getting them messy again. But I think those are going to look awesome when they're attached to the card. So, right, let's do the tough bits. Okay, right, it won't look very nice at the moment, but the main thing is it does close, it doesn't hit the chair, and the rest of this I can get all nicely fiberglassed in and mold through. Still got to decide what I'm doing in this area here. For instance, there's a little bit of trickery where we've got the pad coming over. It's a little bit more bulky than I want it to be, but it's not awful, to be honest. It's considering, like, if we shine a torch through here, you can see there we've got metalwork just behind it. There's not a lot of space to get such big speakers in there, which was always going to be the problem. So, but I think visually, as it shows, the way that will sit through in the door, let me shut the door so you can see what sort of encroachment it has. It's not a million miles off of the original, so I think that will be okay. It's kind of annoying, I guess, because the next stage is to fiberglass it all in and sort of get it fully set. And then once it's in, that's it, it's in. It will then be a case of having to break it all back out and try to change it and things. But so far, I'm happy with it. It's slowly getting to plan. It's taken a bit longer than I wanted to, but then this has been tough. So once we get these bits in, the rest of it should all sort of fall into place. Starting to take some shape now. So that's just the carpet that basically is just going to be used to fill the edges across. So I'm going to soak this with resin, and then obviously this will all become nice and solid at the sides there. And then obviously that will give us sort of the structure to start working from. So let me get that all fiberglassed up and we'll see how she looks afterwards. Right, here's a messy little update. Obviously I think the last time we saw them was just the wooden bits. So they're now fiberglass and bonded onto the door card panel. But there's a hell of a lot of sanding to do. So I think so far this one's been sanded for about 4 hours, and there's still a lot of little bits that have got to be picked through on it. But yeah, it's getting there, but it's a hell of a lot more work than I wanted to do, as Ant well knows by the amount of time that I've had the car here. But we'll get there. I think when they're all done and trimmed, they're going to look absolutely spot on in the vehicle. So, right, let me carry on sanding. Right, so we've reached an important stage. Basically, this is the first time the two panels have been married together, just to make sure we haven't had any major warping or anything else. And so far it looks all good, but I don't have a clue whether that's going to work fully when it's in the door, because this is the first time this panel will be attached to the door, and then obviously I can swing the hinges and make sure everything runs. So I'm going to get this in position, and fingers crossed all my measurements were good. Okay, so those door panels are basically fully fiberglass now. So this is the next bit that I've got to do fiberglass. I might as well get it all out the way first, and then obviously get rid of all the dust, and then can start doing trimming. So these are the old pods that used to hold on for the rear speakers in the back. And they're okay, they did functional form. They did their thing. I was never happy about the fact that they used to get squashed down here and here. And now they look kind of rubbish compared to what we've got on the back pods that you saw earlier in the build. So 3D printed a very similar sort of shape. that's then going to be basically set into that, that's going to give us the ability to have the red inlay with the black sort of around the outside of it. So I've just got to get these lined up, get these cut in, and then basically grind that bit down as well. So I've got to undo my hard work on those and get that into position, retrim it all up, and these should be good to go. So, right, let me start attacking the hell out of these. That was a bit of fun, but yeah, all done and dusted. Well, they're in position and a nice snug fit, so that means when I fiberglass in, we shouldn't get any resonance or anything like that. So, no, I think they'll look all right. So now it's just a case of basically blending all this in with fiberglass, locking that into position, and then obviously then just got to trim it over. And after about 2 hours of sanding, it's starting to look nice and smooth and ready for trim. So another 2 hours later, and we'll have this one looking the same as that one, hopefully. Okay, so you join me back in here. So we've fiberglassed the door pods, we've fiberglassed the tweeter pods, we fiberglassed the rear bit up there, we fiberglassed the rear pods at the very back of it, and there's one more piece of fiberglassing that I've got to do up here that is going to be the most annoying, because essentially it's working with the dashboard. Now, if you do any damage or anything to the dashboard, that's it, it's game over, it's a whole dash out job. So we've got to be really, really careful on this bit, because he has a lovely air ride system, but there's nowhere kind of in here to put this. We was going through a few options and places, and none of it really feels right apart from up there, which I think will be really nice and cool when it's in there. So I've just 3D printed a little mount piece just to put that in, so I've got something that I can attach the fiberglass to. But I've got to come up with a way of sort of having that sit up here. I think I'm going to manipulate off of that rear speaker housing piece and pull a piece over to the side here. I don't really want to attach it to the screen, and I don't really want to attach it anywhere down here. So I kind of need to just get that in that sort of position. I think probably keeping it level with the top of the screen will look right. If not, it'll be a bit sticky up in the air. So probably somewhere like there, for instance. And obviously it's got a cable on it, so we've got to get the cable through. So that's the last piece of the fiberglassing. I hope it all works out all right, because it's not the ideal solution to have it. The other thing, which I said, is we could just have it sort of up here out of the way, but that I think is a little bit cooler to have it there. So let me see what I can do. I guess I'm going to have to mask this all off first, take sort of like a mould of the dashboard and where it meets the screen, and then start building a piece so that this sort of marries through to it. So wish me luck, and I'll get cracking on it. Okay, the first step is just basically I'm going to mask up the area, and obviously I've really overmasked it because the masking tape is much cheaper than, say, a new screen or a new dashboard or something else. So, and I've drawn myself the rough sort of line that I want, so when I take the mould out, that line will actually get stuck to the mould, so I should be able to cut along that and keep the sort of shape that I want. And then it's just going to be a case of basically getting this to sit in the right position, and probably just filling in that bottom corner so that that will give me my angle. And I also need to bring it up the back here, and then I can start building it up afterwards once I get it out of the car, so we can get all the shapes and everything going right. So for the moment, I may even have to bring that up a bit higher looking at it. Yeah, I'm going to bring that up a little bit higher so it doesn't look so sort of gappy. So right, let me get some alterations done and I'll start fiberglassing this in. Okay, stage one of this sort of part of it, the main thing is that it all fits up and it hasn't warped out anywhere. Obviously I've not put that piece back in, but I know that bit fits in there. Everything else is looking good. It's all secured in, the clips are in place, everything lines back up. So in theory, I've not tried this yet, I'm just going to shut the door and see whether I get any resistance or anything. So fingers crossed, it just shuts. Yes, get in there. Right, let's jump inside and see what sort of clearances we have. I don't think it's going to be too bad. Let me put the steering wheel back up because I was doing that fiberglass piece there. Oh, I need to charge battery as well because it's very low, but let's shut the door. That shuts really smooth and nice. And sitting here, yeah, to be honest, I'm in a very comfortable position. It's actually giving me a nice big armrest there essentially to work with. So I really like that. That's all good to see. And yeah, nothing is touching or causing obstruction. So very happy with that. That's going to look absolutely stunning when we're done. So Right, let me fire up this engine because the battery's low, and I guess I need to check the passenger side, but I built them the same, so fingers crossed they're all good. And then we can finally trim these and start loading them up with the gear. Right, so to power the new speakers, I've gone for these little mini Phoenix Gold ones. 85, I think it's 80 or 85 watts output of 4 ohms, 125 at 2 ohms, because I didn't want to change anything that's going on with these amps here, for instance. So that is just going to live, say, behind one of the panels at the side there, nice and compact. It's got the controls on the side and bits and pieces. We can do filtering control. And yeah, so I'm going to get that all plumbed in and get that out of the way, and then I can start testing these speakers out. I think that is going to look so good in the car. So it's just a little sneaky peek of how that's all coming out. Ignore that bit, that's not part of it. That's the lighting bit that's got taped up there. But that, I think, looks pretty damn cool. And should be well chuffed with that. And that's going to sound awesome. Now that's a statement. All in, all trimmed already. And the best thing, let me just open the door again. How cool does that look? I'll drop the light off. Hell yeah. Looks a bit vivid in the actual picture, but in real life, that looks stunning. So, very, very happy with the way that's come out. All good. Right, just got to do the other side now, and that's the doors done. And as exciting as that is, sadly, for people who miss out on me doing my dodgy hand movement, I've spent my first bit of YouTube money, and my first bit of YouTube money has gone on an Insta360 Flow 2 Pro, which basically is an automatic giveaway. It's pretty amazing. I've got to learn the features. But fingers crossed, from now on, I don't have to give it all of the dodgy hand movements and everything will be smooth and silky. Sorry I've been lacking with videoing this, guys, but this has been a lot of work. So, as you can see, we've got both doors all done and dusted. I've retrimmed these in the stretch suede, but I haven't got enough. And to be honest, I'm kind of happy with them, but I'm not happy with them, considering how fresh those ones down there look now. I think these need a little bit more work, but I've ordered up some more suede. So yeah, and you're gonna have to wait for that, but I'm gonna explain that when I get here. So I've just got to put that side back in, which is over here, ready to be trimmed up and cut in and everything. And then we've just got to do some EQ setup. I've still got to do the air ride bit at the front, but it's getting there. But as a visual, how cool is that gonna look? Right. Let me get the rest of this back in, I get these panels back on, and then we'll have a look at it once it's all back in position properly. Okay then, so we got the doors done. There's a little hidden switch underneath there that's going to activate these rear speakers and the ones that are up there only when he's at the shows and he wants to play the loud sounds. So, as we look around, it's all back in, just needs a good clean, but everything looks pretty damn awesome. And obviously the same on that side there. Plus, we've got our jump start posts in. So Ant's worried that once it's fully slammed, the bonnet won't open. So down underneath there, you can probably see those two brass studs. They've got the caps to protect them. That's now a new jump start post that he can then put a jump start pack or jump start another car onto that, and that goes straight through with 4-gauge cable up onto his jump start post up underneath the bonnet. So all of that is ready to rock and roll. The last little piece I have to do is just complete this little air ride bit. So I've got to get a tunnel between here and that side edge. I know it looks really bad at the moment, but that's the moulding. You can see there where the lines have pulled across from that tape that I put on. So I've just got to build this up with more fiberglass, then obviously get it nice and smooth, get it trimmed over, and that will sit lovely up on top of the dashboard. And then we are officially, oh, let me do a fancy gimbal movement. Not that one. Let me try this one. Yeah, still not got to grips with this gimbal bit, but it's all right. It's kind of cool. So if I move it around,
there are other things it can do. It can do all sorts of zooming and all that. I need to learn it, basically. There's loads of stuff on it, and it's going to be weird to remember where to look if I'm doing a selfie, because you are actually over there, but I'm looking at the screen, which is over there, so my eyes are all out of place on it. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with how this is coming out, and hopefully, eventually, I'll get better at this part of it. Okay, well, there's no point having the controller up there if we haven't got the wire up there. But I can't believe the amount of stuff that I have to take off just to get a cable from down here up there. It's the whole HVAC system, the centerpiece, the center console. So, but we're there now with it. So, right, it won't be long and we'll have the cable up there. And after a lot more sanding, we have something that I think I can use. So obviously there's a hole going through the center of it that will bring through the cable that's going to match down where my finger is there. And yeah, so far it's looking good. I'm going to pull some stretch suede over it, see how she looks. It's probably going to be a pain to trim, but we'll get it in the car and make sure we're good as gold. Well, you can probably see that I've taken a panel off. Absolutely fuming. So basically spoke to Anne and told him you can see the cables at the back here. It was like, you what, Neil? Sort it out. Only messing about. But no, I thought realistically it doesn't look right, so I've just trimmed up the panel, put some little wing pieces at the edge of it, and that'll go back in. So now if you do go see the car, you won't be able to see the cables. So but I thought, yeah, it had to be done. It didn't look right seeing those in the corner. So, and obviously I do actually need to redo these, but that's something, there's a few little bits, like most people will say, oh, it's not a problem, but for me it's just not spot on. So those will be redone, but for the moment I'll get that panel in there, and that should help out that bit lovely. Yeah, so that does look a bit smart now. So yeah, glad I've done that bit. All good. Sorry, exhaust is a bit loud, but yeah, that looks pretty damn smart. So I'm just gonna 3M it up on there because I don't want to drill into the actual dashboard or anything. So, but no, it's nice because now obviously you can just get straight into its controls and bits and pieces. So you should be well happy with that. Right, I think that's the last piece of actually the things we have to build. So the rest of it is just clean it up and we'll get into some beauty shots. So we're in the gimbal now and I've got it to focus on that back speaker, and as you can see, as I move around, it has really cool AI, so it'll actually pan and track that back speaker no matter where I face. I'm actually facing the boot now and it's span all the way around. So hopefully this will improve my skills as a YouTuber, but who knows? Content's still, I guess, the most important thing.
Fuck yeah, I want it all.
Right guys, thank you for enjoying the video. I wish I could show you more of the cutting and that. Now I've got this tripod which should follow me as I walk around, which is kind of cool. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get more of the action shots that I know you guys want to see about me actually doing the work on the cars. But yeah, I hope you really like it. It looks awesome. I don't even know if you're in shot right now. Like I say, there's still a lot for me to learn on this thing. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been needed, to be honest. That original system with just the little 4-inch drivers,
they were never going to cut the mustard when it comes to getting good audio and good sound and everything else. They're good quality speakers, but they haven't got enough oomph behind them. So I think now with the double sort of 17.5 centimetre speakers up on there, plus we've got these ones displaying out for all the crowds that he's going to show to, you will definitely see this at shows. He's booked in for, I think he's going Belgium next weekend, and there's loads of other places. He's booked into a lot of places. He's sponsored by Auto Finesse, so he'll be on the stands there. Obviously he's sponsored by myself, which is why he's got a big Creative Car Sounds logo on the front there, and hence why I've decided to sort of do all this work for him. I won't tell you about costs or anything like that, but yeah, he's had a good deal out of it, let's say that. So, but yeah, I hope you really like it, guys. It's been I think it's about the 8th time that I've worked on this. There's a whole series of stuff to go, and I think we've reached nearly the end game. And I say nearly the end game because there is a couple of things that we could do better. I won't spoil it, but we are only dealing with a 400 watt RMS sub, and in today's world, that's not a lot. So listen out maybe for some future updates. I doubt it'll be this year, to be fair. I think this year, this is how it sits. But who knows in the future. I hope you've had a great time watching it. It's been a lot of sanding, some trim work, some light work, all the normal sort of stuff. And I've really enjoyed it, to be honest. As you can probably tell, it's 10 o'clock at night now. I've just called the customer Ant to come and get it. Definitely have a look on his Instagram and things, Antsparky. He does some really good content. I know he's got a videographer coming down to do a whole photo shoot on Sunday for this, so there should be some really cool pictures coming out from that. So yeah, looking forward to where this goes. I'm not expecting to become a millionaire off this, obviously, because you don't work like that in this world, but it'll be nice to get the brand out there a bit more. Hopefully he keeps the stickers on, because they are just stickers. Hopefully he keeps them on for a while, because I think I've done him a good sort of deal here. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Obviously a like and a subscribe really helps me out, and if not, I will see you on the next one, which I couldn't even tell you what I've got. I've got a few films ready to go. So hope you have a great day. I'll catch you on the next one.
Just looked over the lighting on that last shot, and yeah, it's shocking. So sorry about that, guys. Yeah, catch you on the next one.